Hi there, you're watching the first video in my series on AI literacy for college students. This video and the other videos in this series are designed to help students learn about artificial intelligence and learn how it could be used for their research and writing. In November of 2022, the company OpenAI released ChatGPT to the world. For most people, this was their first introduction to AI text generators. ChatGPT was an immediate sensation. People were amazed that it could quickly generate writing about nearly any topic and in numerous different forms, including writing advanced research papers or composing sonnets. Other companies, including Google and Microsoft, quickly followed OpenAI's lead. These other tech companies released their own artificially intelligent text generators to compete with ChatGPT. These AI tools have captured the attention of the media and the public, but not everyone has reacted positively to the arrival of AI text generators. In particular, educators have warned about the dangers these tools pose for student learning. For example, the website Inside Higher Ed published an article called "ChatGPT is a Plague Upon Education." The author of this article compares ChatGPT to the COVID-19 pandemic. He asks readers, will we develop a resistance to this new plague in our classrooms, or will we simply throw our hands up in defeat, embrace our AI overlords, and with it throw out our ability to write, to create, and to think critically for ourselves? So as you can see, many of your professors are panicking about text generators. We are worried that our students will use artificially intelligent text generators like ChatGPT as a shortcut. We're worried that if they use artificial intelligence, our students won't develop strong research and writing skills. Many of us have tried to prohibit students from using text generators in the year and a half since ChatGPT was released. I'm a college writing teacher, and for about a year, I told my students they were not allowed to use text generators in my classes. After a while, I began to question how practical it was to ban this technology from my writing courses. After talking with some of my students and reading some of the research about this topic, I decided to take a different approach. I've decided to introduce artificially intelligent text generators in my writing classes. I want to help my students use these artificially intelligent text generators to help them with their research and writing in ways that don't undermine their learning. As part of my new approach, I made this video series to help students develop AI literacy. By AI literacy, I mean that I want students to understand how to use artificially intelligent tools to help them with their reading and writing. I want them to better understand how and why these tools write the way that they do. And I want students to be aware of these tools' limitations so they can make informed decisions about if and when to use them. In this series of videos, I help students learn how artificially intelligent text generators work, what their limitations are, and how they might be used in research and writing effectively and ethically. This first video explains how artificially intelligent text generators write. I will explain the primary algorithm that enables these tools to write, and I will also hone in on some of its limitations. In the second video, I will expand on this topic, and in particular, I'll talk about how AI text generators are not neutral or objective, but rather reflect the ideologies that they pick up from society. In the third video, I will demonstrate how I used artificially intelligent text generators to help me write an essay, similar to one that I assigned to my students. I will talk about how I used these tools and recommend ways for students to use them ethically and effectively. In the future, I may add more videos to the series as I come across other relevant topics. Before I delve into my main topic, I will take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Nick Subterellu. I teach college-level writing, and I'm a scholar and researcher with a background in linguistics. The field of linguistics encourages us to take a systematic view of how language works. Among other things, I have conducted research that uses computer tools to analyze large collections of language. These videos draw on my experience as a researcher and as a writing teacher. As I mentioned earlier, this first video focuses on how artificially intelligent text generators write. In other words, I will try to explain how developers have built these tools to write in ways that seem very human to many people. I will also discuss some of the limitations of using these tools to help you with your writing and research for school. My goal is to help students understand these tools better so that they can make informed decisions about whether and how to use them for their school assignments. Let me start by explaining my terminology. I'm going to be talking about a set of tools that I call artificially intelligent text generators, or AI text generators. Some examples of AI text generators include OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's Gemini. ChatGPT and Gemini are comparable in design. They're both chatbots that were created to have a conversation with the user and produce texts in response to the user's prompts. My third example is Grammarly. Grammarly is a different kind of tool from the others. The other two, ChatGPT and Gemini, are standalone AI chatbots. They are tools designed specifically to allow users to interact with artificial intelligence. Grammarly is a somewhat different kind of tool. It is designed to give feedback on writing, and in fact, it existed for many years before ChatGPT emerged on the scene. However, the developers of Grammarly have recently added advanced AI capabilities to the toolset, and therefore Grammarly can now make suggestions about your writing that are informed by AI text generators. Now I'm going to discuss what these tools are intended to do and how they do it. I will keep this discussion basic for a couple of reasons. First, I made this video for students who want to know how they could use AI text generators to help them write and research for school. I think a basic overview of how AI text generators work is enough for that purpose. Second, tech companies are rapidly developing and changing these tools, so there will likely be all kinds of changes to them for the foreseeable future. I hope that the technical information in these videos is general enough that they will remain relevant despite all of the advancement in artificial intelligence technology that will occur over the next several years. Let's start by considering what AI text generators are intended to do. Text generators are an example of so-called artificial intelligence. This phrase refers to computer programs that are designed to observe and learn from the data they're given. The goal of this learning is to enable the computer to mimic human behavior. Thus, artificially intelligent text generators are programs designed to learn how to write in a way that resembles the way humans write. Developers have taught these programs to write by giving them huge collections of texts written by humans. These collections of texts are referred to as the training data. In order to create a text generator that's as powerful as something like ChatGPT, developers need a huge amount of data. So how big are these training data sets? Well, they range in size, but let's explore one recent example. OpenAI's ChatGPT 4. ChatGPT 4 was released in 2023. According to one report, the training data for ChatGPT 4 consisted of 13 trillion words. We're not used to thinking about quantities that large, so it's hard to imagine how large of a text collection we're actually talking about. I'm going to try to put this into terms that might make more sense to you. Let's imagine that you, as a human, learn to write in a way similar to how these AI tools are trained. You read through other people's writing, and that reading gives you an idea of how people write. You can then produce your own writing based on the patterns that you saw in your reading. Let's assume you read at the speed of the average silent reader. That's about 238 words per minute, according to this article. Now let's assume you spend about 1 hour per day, every day, reading. And let's assume that you read for an hour every day from age 5 to age 105, so for 100 years. In your lifetime then, I estimate that you'll read about 521 million words. We could call that your training data. The training data that the average person is exposed to in their lifetime seems pretty big. It's hundreds of millions of words. However, remember that ChatGPT 4 was trained on trillions of words. I estimate that ChatGPT's training dataset is roughly 25,000 times larger than the number of words the average person will likely read in a lifetime. This comparison might lead you to expect that ChatGPT 4 is a much better writer than the average person, since it has more training data to work from. You might be tempted to think that there's no way you can possibly write something better than ChatGPT 4. I would caution against these assumptions. The situation is much more nuanced. As a human being, your writing is informed by a much richer experience of the world than any AI text generator can ever possibly hope to emulate. As I will show you, the knowledge that AI text generators have about how to write is a very narrow kind of knowledge. This knowledge consists primarily of statistical information about how words tend to pattern together. Now, you as a human also have a similar knowledge of how words tend to go together, but importantly, you have a lot of other knowledge too. So you do have advantages over AI text generators, even though they're going to be much faster at writing than you. So now I'd like to discuss how artificially intelligent text generators learn from their training data. During the training process, the program processes all of the data in order to observe how words combine with each other. In other words, the program reads through all 13 trillion words and observes how each word is related to the other words around it. As it works its way through the texts in its training data, the program continuously updates the information that it has about all of the words it has learned. In particular, it gathers information on which other words tend to occur near it or not. And it stores this information in a statistical fashion. It calculates numbers that reflect how likely a word is to occur or not in the context of other words. When it finishes processing all of that training data, the program has built a huge database with information about which words tend to occur with which other words. This database is the primary tool that artificially intelligent text generators use to write. When these tools generate text, they use this statistical information to predict which word will come next in the sequence of words that it is constructing. As you've probably already seen, the results can really be quite impressive. We can attribute much of this success to the fact that writing, especially carefully edited writing, is often quite formulaic and predictable. And these AI text generators have seen a very large amount of this writing. So now let's consider an example. Let's imagine that we would like an AI text generator to help us write a thesis statement for our essay. I will give the program the first 4 words that I think it should use. In this essay, I now expect the text generator to fill in every word after that to suggest a thesis statement. The AI text generator is going to rely on information it gathered from its training data. It will also use any information the user provides it, but for now I'm going to ignore that part of the process. So, how does the training data help the text generator perform its task? Well, we can get some insight into this question by looking at a collection of texts that is similar to the training data that these text generators use. In particular, I'm going to use iWeb, the 14 billion word web corpus, created by a linguist named Mark Davies and his team. Like the training data that ChatGPT and other text generators use, iWeb contains a huge number of texts written by humans. However, iWeb actually contains way fewer words than ChatGPT's training data. Still, at 14 billion words, it's pretty huge. When I did a search in iWeb for "in this essay I got 454 results. So that's 454 times that the texts in this collection used that exact phrase, "in this essay I." Here on the screen, I have presented a random sample of 10 instances of this phrase, "in this essay I." These examples were all taken from the iWeb corpus. Even from this very small amount of data, we can begin to see the patterns that AI text generators rely on to help them mimic human writing. If we told an AI text generator to complete our thesis statement for us, it would rely on its experience with sentences just like this. So, what might it do exactly? The algorithm is designed to predict the next word in the sequence. So, it's going to be sensitive to patterns like what we see here. For example, it's likely that the next word it will choose is the word will, because it looks like that's the most frequent word after the phrase "in this essay I." As you can see, 4 of 10 of our sentences contain "in this essay I will." Now, it's not quite this simple, since there are other options too, which could be chosen. And we can even see that in our data. For example, the word would is another good candidate. It shows up in 2 of the 10 sentences we have here. And of course, there are other options too, including some that we don't even have in our small data set. A larger data set, like the one ChatGPT-4 was trained on, would give us even more options to choose from. But let's imagine that the program picks the word will to come next. So now it's going to move on to the next word. What word will it choose? We can make a good guess by looking at what words will follow "in this essay I will." In this very small sample, we can see that comment, discuss, and focus are 3 words that the program might choose to go next. So based on this example training data, we would expect that the program is going to write something like, in this essay, I will discuss, because that's the pattern that it has learned from the training data. For the sake of making it easier to understand, I have considerably simplified the process that goes into building these AI text generators. Nonetheless, I hope that this demonstration has provided you with a glimpse into how AI text generators learn to write. Because of the massive size of their training data, many artificially intelligent text generators are quite good at producing writing that resembles human writing. These tools can produce texts that appear authoritative on almost any topic they are asked about. And they will write these authoritative sounding texts in a matter of seconds. It would take most humans much longer to write something similar. Indeed, any student knows that it can take hours to write an essay for school. Artificially intelligent text generators may write a similar essay in a matter of seconds. However, because they rely solely on statistical information about how words combine together, I urge students to be very careful about trusting any of the information produced by a text generator. These tools are not designed to write texts that represent the world accurately. In fact, they do not have knowledge about the world beyond the patterns of word combinations they have processed. Because of how they're designed, they're simply not credible sources, and students should be cautious about trusting them. I'll address a few of the reasons why in this video series. For the rest of this video, I'm going to focus on the tendency of these tools to present fake information as if it were fact. The companies that create and sell artificially intelligent text generators acknowledge that they are prone to making factual errors. For example, OpenAI has placed a disclaimer on ChatGPT that says, ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info. Frankly, I think OpenAI's warning understates the nature of the problem. Let me show you an example of why. Let's imagine that I want ChatGPT to help me write a research paper for one of my classes. Let's say I have to write a literature review about the use of text generators in college writing classes. So I logged on to ChatGPT and I typed this. I have to write a literature review for class. The topic is a problem facing college students. I want to write about problems students may face when they use artificially intelligent text generators to complete their assignments. In response to my prompt, ChatGPT wrote me a whole literature review. It had citations to a variety of different sources, and it even gave me a reference list containing articles from peer-reviewed journals. Pretty awesome, right? Nope. These sources are fake. They sound really similar to actual scholarly articles. The titles resemble the titles of articles you'll find published in an academic journal, but they're not real. It's important to remember what text generators are designed to do and how they do it in order to explain this phenomenon. As I explained earlier, text generators are designed to produce texts that look like human writing by using statistical information about the patterns observed in language. ChatGPT has processed training data that included many examples of citations in academic papers. Therefore, the program has a good idea about what these citations look like. Its training data contains numerous examples of scholarly article titles, and so ChatGPT is very good at creating titles for articles. It can generate an article title using the patterns it knows almost instantaneously. And this presents a very serious problem for students who want to use these tools in their research and writing. Students can easily be led astray by text generators that produce authoritative sounding texts that are full of fake information. In fact, in my work as a writing teacher, I have detected many students using AI text generators based solely on the fact that their essays confidently discussed fake sources, which is a clear sign that the essay was written by AI. It's important to remember that AI text generators are not designed to produce accurate information about the world. In this video, I've introduced the basics of how text generators write. I've also demonstrated one of the very real dangers that students face if they choose to use these tools in their research or writing for school. Namely, these tools are not designed to communicate accurate information about the world. Rather, they're designed to generate texts that appear similar to human writing. The danger for students lies in the fact that they may not notice that the text generator has made up fake sources or fake information, but their teachers might notice this. For example, if you ask ChatGPT to write a research paper for your college psychology class, ChatGPT could produce a paper for you, including citing sources. However, as I've shown you here, those sources or other information in the paper may be completely fake. Your teacher, who is probably an expert in the subject, might wonder why they've never heard of any of the research your paper discusses. With a little bit of effort, they'll quickly discover that you're citing fake research in your work. Therefore, if you want to do high-quality work in college, you need to be very cautious about using any information or any text that is produced by these tools. Once you understand how artificially intelligent text generators work, you can begin to see that there's been a lot of unsubstantiated hype about them. A lot of the panic around these tools has failed to recognize that the texts they write don't stand up to serious scrutiny by knowledgeable readers. Therefore, college students should be vigilant when using these tools to help them with their schoolwork. Thank you for watching the first video in my series, AI Literacy for College Students. All of the videos in this series are designed to help students learn to use text generators effectively and ethically for writing and research. In the next video, I will expand on the limitations of text generators by discussing how these tools reflect the ideologies of the texts that they were trained on. I will demonstrate this problem using some of my own past research, and I will discuss how the tendency to echo dominant ideologies can pose a problem for students hoping to use these tools. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel.